Israel's military strikes targeting Iran's nuclear facilities have raised the specter of safety, security, and safeguards in the event of a radioactive leak. Hello and welcome to The Print. My name is Soumya Pillai and I will explain what could happen if a nuclear facility is bombed and whether these strikes can result in a situation like Chernobyl or Fukushima. According to a statement issued by the International Atomic Energy Agency or IAEA, which is the global nuclear watchdog, the attacks by Israel could have serious implications for nuclear safety, security and safeguards, as well as regional and international peace and security. Director General of IAEA, Rafael Mariano Grossi, said that nuclear facilities must never be attacked regardless of the context or circumstances, as it could harm both people and environment. Before I get into the details of the possible impacts of Israel's attacks, let me quickly tell you how radioactive leaks are detected. The process is carried out through specialized radiation detection equipment that identifies the presence and intensity of radiation in an area. The process of mapping radiation does not stop there. Over a prolonged period, radiation impacts on the local flora and fauna are recorded and assessed. Now, conversations have shifted to worst-case scenarios. And what happens if U-235 and U-38, both unstable isotopes of uranium enriched for nuclear weapons, are released? The possibility of a nuclear disaster depends on several factors, including the type of facility targeted, the size of operations, and their age. The extent of possible risks also depend a lot on how and how much the nuclear material are stored in these facilities. The silver lining is that Iran's nuclear power plant in Bushehr and a research reactor in Tehran have not been targeted. I will tell you why in just a minute. According to the official website of the International Campaign to Abolish Nuclear Weapons, which is a coalition of non-governmental organizations promoting implementation of the United Nations Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons, most nuclear reactors are not designed for extreme events like aerial bombing, missile strikes, or being crashed into by an airplane. ICAN said that such strikes could breach the containment building and damage the reactor, potentially causing a meltdown of the reactor core. In most countries, nuclear reactors are protected by concrete and metal structures. But if the reactor's spent fuel pools, cooling and fire suppression equipment and other supporting infrastructure are hit, it could pose a threat. But their impact would likely be limited to localized radiation leaks and not large-scale nuclear explosions. It is important to note that so far no strikes have been reported on Iran's nuclear reactors. So an event along the lines of Chernobyl or Fukushima is unlikely. The next cause of concern is the strikes at Iran's uranium enrichment facilities. IAEA confirmed on Monday that Israel's attacks had damaged centrifuges at the facilities. Centrifuges are basically machines that spin uranium hexafluoride gas at extremely high speeds to enrich the element. The damage to the centrifuges has caused radiological and chemical contamination within the facility, but the levels of radioactivity has remained unchanged outside. Enrichment sites perform the task of eliminating uranium-238 from uranium-235, the primary isotopes of uranium, to make it weapons grade. Atomic energy experts in India said that Natanz and Isfahan are enrichment sites and storage facilities. If they are compromised, the aftermath would be controlled. Experts have also pointed out that simply attacking nuclear material with conventional weapons would not cause an organized explosion. It could cause radioactive leaks, yes, but a nuclear explosion is unlikely. This is why when Ukraine's Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant was caught in the Russia-Ukraine war and sustained partial damage, no nuclear mishap occurred. But in such events, localized radiation leaks cannot be overruled. Such localized leaks can be detrimental to the health of people living around these facilities and also cause damage to the environment. This is not the first time that Israel has tried to thwart nuclear weapons ambitions of its neighbors while citing potential safety risks to its own existence. In 1981, Israel struck Iraq's nuclear research reactor, Osirak, near Baghdad. In 2007, it targeted facilities in Syria's Al-Kibar. In both cases, concrete nuclear fission had not yet started in these facilities. And hence, there was no radioactive leak that was reported in either of these two cases. In Iran's case, the immediate trigger for the attack was a resolution by the Board of Governors of the IAEA. The organization had warned that Iran was not complying with its non-proliferation obligations. It was carrying out secret nuclear activities in 3 locations, it said. Such a breach was reported for the first time in 20 years, following which the nuclear watchdog raised the prospect of reporting this to the UN Security Council. Iran has 4 primary facilities under its nuclear program, 2 in Natanz, the fuel enrichment plant and the pilot fuel enrichment plant, and the Fordo fuel enrichment plant and the uranium conversion facility in Isfahan. In its report, the IAEA said that 3 of the 4 facilities in Iran were part of an undeclared structured nuclear program carried out by Iran until the early 2000s, and that some activities used undeclared nuclear material. But Iran has consistently denied that it is developing nuclear weapons. That is all from me. I am Soumya Pillai and you were watching The Print.